What is up, and welcome back to another episode of Blood and Beer, the show where we talk blood sport and we drink beer. I'm your host, Matt, and as always, we've got some MMA to talk, some beer to drink. Today's beer is coming to us straight from the root plant. We got A&W Root Beer going on a root beer tour right now. Last week we had Barks, this week we got A&W, maybe some Mug next, who knows. It's alright, root beer. It's not as good as Barks. Barks is a lot better than this, but this is okay. Alright, anyways. Goodness, got the burps already. Today we're recapping UFC Tampa, Joaqin Buckley versus Colby Covington. We saw Swanson making his return. We're going to recap that whole card, the last UFC card, last big MMA card of the year. We're going to get into all that. And then look ahead at what I got to close out the year for you, what we have to look forward to, etc. So without further ado, this UFC Tampa card, it was a fun fucking card. A lot of finishes, fun way to end the year. Main event ended in an anticlimactic way, but it was a good fight while it lasted. So Joaqin Buckley, he defeats Colby Covington by doctor stoppage in round 3. In round 1, Buckley comes out there and he's just putting the boots to Colby. He's beating the shit out of him on the feet. He drops him in the middle of the round. He even gets a takedown in the second round. But in the first round, he cuts Colby's eye nasty, right on the eyelid. Colby starts getting some success in round 2, towards the end of round 2 and into round 3. He's getting some success on the ground. He does a jump spin kick that lands on Buckley. That was nasty. He's starting to, pace his way to victory. He looked like he might have had a chance to take over the fight. Goodness, excuse me. But the doctor came in to look at the cut again. The cut was absolutely nasty. She said he's going to lose that eyelid with the way it was cut. So they had to call the fight. Dana says if the fight happened in Vegas, then the fight wouldn't have gotten stopped. And that was kind of where I saw Colby turning the tide in my prediction for this fight, was in the 3rd, 4th, and 5th round. We didn't get to see it get there due to a cut, is what it is. But Joaqin Buckley, man, he goes out there. He shows that he's not just some lucky dude with knockout power. He's elevated himself this past year. At the beginning of the year, he was calling out Conor McGregor, and everyone was like, what the fuck are you doing? You're wasting your mic time. Nobody cares. Nobody wants to see you versus Conor McGregor. He learned from his mistakes. Goes out there, knocks out Wonder Boy. He finishes Colby. He's moved himself into the upper echelon of the welterweights. He's 6-0 at welterweight now. He was on the outside looking in of the contenders. Now he is one of the top contenders. He's there with the JDMs, with the Ian Garys, with the Sean Bradys, those guys. And the world is his oyster right now. He can fight whoever he wants. There's so many matchups for him. He could fight Brady, JDM, Ian Gary. He could fight Leon. He could fight Usman. He could get lucky and get the Masvidal comeback fight just because he's become a big name and he's a fun fighter. We don't know, but world's his oyster. He's really had a turnaround from the start of the year. So shout out to Joaqin Buckley. Wish the fight would have gone a little longer, but it is what it is. You can't control those kinds of things. And he did cause the cut with a punch, so that's how he gets it done to finish the year 4-0. All right. And then we had Billy Quarantillo and Swanson go to absolute war. These guys were beating the shit out of each other. They're trading combinations. One guy would land a combination, the other one would shoot back with a combination of his own. And it was a real wave of the fight because round 1, both guys had success throughout the whole fight, but it seemed Cub was winning round 1. Round 2, Billy's starting to get his offense off. Cub's still firing back and catching him good, but Billy kind of edges round 2. Round 3, Swanson comes out there, throws a 1-2 punch combination, drops Billy Q for the knockout. 41 years old, still getting it done. Probably his last fight, but for how long he's been around, this dude's just an action fighter. He's given us the Doo Ho Choi fight. He's given us this, several other fun fights, fun finishes. He's a fan favorite. 41 years old at 145, 135 though. That's when you start to look and say, hey, might be time to retire. I'm getting old. And what a way to go out with a knockout like that. And then we had a lot of stakes at 125 with Manel Kape versus Bruno Silva. And Manel Kape was nasty in this. He was just styling on Silva. He's going out there. He's doing little dance moves when Silva misses. He's cracking him on the feet. His hand speed is just insane. And Silva kicked Manel Kape in the nuts 3 times in this fight. Clean, straight to the cup. So they took a point from Silva. And then when they go back in the 3rd round after the point had been taken, Kape goes out there and he actually hits Silva in the nuts, and then the ref didn't catch it or didn't call it, and when he hits him in the nuts, he hits his finishing sequence to put Bruno Silva out, gets the TKO, and then he goes over to Dana White calling for a title fight. He wants to rematch Pantoja. And I'm here for it. I want to see Kape versus Pantoja. I know that the most rightful people right now are Moreno and Royval, but they've lost to Pantoja a total of 5 times combined. So is there really a market for that? And then Kai Kara France, but he's 1-2 in his last 3. So do we give it to him? I don't know, but Manel Kape, this dude is a fun fighter. He can sell fights. And his fight versus Alexander Pantoja, it was a close one. It was a split decision, I think. He could have easily won that. He could have been given that decision. But that's the fight I want to see. I don't know if we're going to see that get announced, but that's the fight I want to see. 2 action fighters in Kape and Pantoja. And Kape can just sell a fight. He doesn't like anybody. He's a mean dude. He's a nasty dude. I love it. And then we had Dustin Jacoby. He gets a 1-punch knockout over Vitor Petrino. Petrino was really giving Jacoby a lot of problems this whole fight, walking him down, beating him up. But Petrino, I said it in my pre-fight, he hates when you fire back at him. He shells up, he retreats. And when you're fighting a guy that's an experienced striker, you can't retreat straight backwards because that gives their punch more power than if you were to step in or step to the side. When you're taking a step straight backwards, it just allows them to get more momentum, more inertia. More inertia on that punch. Kinetic energy, I don't know what it is. But, the further out it is, the more you're going to have a lot more power with the punch that you get to fully extend versus a punch that they catch you right here and the elbow is bent. You don't have everything behind that. Dustin Jacoby gets a knockout, comeback win for him, and snaps a pretty big losing skid. So good for Dustin Jacoby. And then we had Daniel Marcos. He defeats Adrian Yanez in a very close fight by split decision. A striker's delight. It was a really fun fight. But Daniel Marcos stays undefeated, 17-0. We'll have to see what's next to him. He's been edging out these close fights lately, but he's undefeated. That's a big deal when you have 17 fights. And then Navajo Sterling had a pretty uneventful decision over Tuco Tokos. Unanimous decision, never in question, but not a lot to write home about for that fight. Michael Johnson, however, he turns back the clock, puts Ottman Azaitar on his back, out cold with a series of punches. He was just swinging wild, catches him and puts him down. He's laid out like Jesus on the cross after he gets knocked out, and the ref doesn't step in right away. So Michael Johnson got quite a few extra punches in there just to seal the deal. But it was nasty. Absolutely sleeps him. That's 3 knockouts in a row for Azaitar. 3 knockout losses in a row. 2024, 2023, and 2022. 1 fight each, knockout each time. Dude's washed. If he fights again, bet the house against him. And then we had Joel Alvarez stunting on fucking Drakkar Klose. It's not a real long fight. He hurts Drakkar Klose on the feet, and then when Klose is wobbled, he does a high jump knee, hits him right in the face. Klose is out, but as he's going down, Alvarez catches him in a guillotine and starts punching him from the guillotine, but Klose was already out. It was a fun finish, and it just shows you how stacked the 155-pound division is, because Joel Alvarez is not even ranked, and this dude's 22-3 with 22 finishes. I think 17 submissions and 17 first round finishes also. So the dude's absolutely insane, and he's not even ranked. I think his only loss in the UFC right now, and I could be mistaken, he might have lost one more, but Arman Sarukian, and it was a tough fight. He gave Arman some trouble. It was his UFC debut, if I'm not mistaken. So this dude, he says he's moving up to 170, but man, I like him at 155. He's huge. And, 22 finishes. You're beating people like Drakkar Klose easy, and you're not ranked. That just shows you how deep the lightweight division is. They have top talent all the way through the top 30. I mean, everybody's super, super talented there. All right. Then we had the battle of the featherweight giants. We had Sean Woodson versus Fernando Padilla, and fun fight. Padilla comes out blitzing. Woodson has to weather an early storm. He has good defense, though, good head movement. He's avoiding a lot of the shots that Padilla's throwing at him, and he starts finding his rhythm. He finds the home for that jab. His boxing combinations are landed, and we hear for the last 10 seconds of the round, he lands a 1-2 combo, and then he just jumps on him with a flurry to put Padilla out cold, drops him. Beautiful fight for Sean Woodson. Dude's super underrated. 13-1. He's on a 5-fight win streak right now. 7-fight unbeaten streak, I think, in the UFC. So get this man a number next to his name. He's huge. He's a problem for everybody. People have trouble with him on the ground because he's so freaking long. He's like a spider with these limbs that he's got. People have trouble with him on the feet because of the range that he has, and he's such a good boxer. He just goes out there and he will just box you for 3 rounds, probably 5 rounds. He seems like he's got a gas tank, so I can't wait to see more out of Sean Woodson. Big fan of that guy. And then we saw Felipe Lima. He gets a unanimous decision win in a fun fight over Miles Johns. Johns cracked him a little bit in the fight. He was swinging. He was asking him to hit him. Johns wasn't fast enough. He wasn't good enough of a wrestler. I shouldn't say that. Felipe Lima was just faster. He was just a better wrestler, better jiu-jitsu. He was just one step ahead in every game, every asset of the game. So Lima, this dude's a stud. Look for him in the top 15 soon also. This card was stacked with prospects that are actually fun, not prospects that just go out there and control to win. So what a fucking card this ended up being. We'll go ahead and close the show out, though. Miranda Maverick picked up a unanimous decision win over Jamie Lynn Horth. It was kind of entertaining grappling affair, but it wasn't anything to write home about. We saw Davey Grant beat the shit out of Ramon Tavares for 3 rounds. Tavares was boxing while Davey Grant was out there using all weapons. He was using his kicks, his punches, his elbows. So Grant gets a unanimous decision win there. And then finally, Piera Rodriguez, she gets a unanimous decision win over Josephine Knudsen. Big upset to open the night off. And that wraps up our UFC coverage for 2024. That's all. No more cards until the new year. I think January 8th of the next card, January 15th, the next pay-per-view. I can't wait for that. I can't wait to get into that. But we got a lull in the meantime. We got some downtime. We got to figure out what we're going to do. So this week, I think we're going to do a show specifically for the Tyson Fury Alexander Usyk fight. That's going to be next Saturday on December 21st. We're also going to have our MMA awards coming out. Best fighter of the year, fight of the year, knockout of the year, sub, the whole 9 yards team. I'm going to be announcing it all. And I will also be dropping my pound-for-pound rankings and each weight class. I need to get to work on that. A lot I want to do. A lot of free time. No MMA to cover. Just going to be watching a lot of tape, trying to figure out who I'm picking on these early cards next year. Try to figure out some money lines, some places where I can make some money. But yeah, that's all I got for you today. Oh, and I'm also going to have an episode this week, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, I don't know. The GFL, how did I forget this? The Global Fight League, team sports fighting, I don't know. We'll get into it, but there's a new MMA promotion coming out where it's going to be league-based. There's going to be teams where fighters accumulate points, and then there's a playoff, just like a tournament setup, fighters head-to-head. Winner of the playoffs wins it all, I guess. But I'll get into it all in the next episode. I have a whole lot to say about that. And hopefully it ends up good. Seems like they really want to put fighters first. But yeah, we're not going to get into all of it right now. That's all I got for you. Thank you for tuning in to Blood and Beer. Thank you for rocking with me all year. And yeah, last UFC event of the year.